going to Minnesota. The Utah Jazz finally trade their big man after a lot of speculation, and Utah got a haul. Danny Ainge worked his magic yet again. Utah got 3 unprotected first-round picks and a top 5 protected first-round pick in 2029. So that's 4 first-round picks in total, stretching from 2023 all the way up to 2029. The only years that aren't included are 2024, 2026, and 2020.
26 is a pick swap too.
Yeah, exactly. 2026 is a pick swap, plus a handful of players: Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Walker Kessler, and Leandro Balmero.
Whoever that is.
Yeah. So it's basically Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, and Beverly is likely going to be bought out, according to some reports, right after that trade ended, and Jared Vanderbilt. So let's just jump right into it. Rudy Gobert has been on our shit list for a handful of years now, probably since we first started this podcast. And Ben Simmons got robbed of Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert's been on our shit list. But still, this is just Utah gets away with highway robbery, and Minnesota don't know what the fuck they're doing. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Timmy, what can you explain this to me, or are you as dumbfounded as I am?
We literally sat there on Friday, right? And we were like, minus the Towns extension and giving Brunson all that money, there's a lot of smart trades, right? And we both agreed. We're like, that no, they like GMs didn't lose their head. There were some good signings for not a long term, not too much money was handed out. There was maybe a couple questionable extensions, but those were teams forced into the corner. We're like, but so far it's actually like not a crazy start to, like, you didn't have that oh shit moment. And then the Timberwolves said, hold my fucking beer. I'm going to fuck your weekend up and have everyone wondering what we did. I don't understand this. Once again, Danny Ainge has whipped up his voodoo magic and just absolutely stonewalled another franchise to giving him all this shit, protected or not. And Minnesota now basically has to rely on free agency. Good luck. No one wants to come to the Twin Cities. These are people, these are players that, and human beings that don't like cold weather. NBA players don't like cold cities. It's the reason Toronto can never get free agents. It's the reason.
Miami's always in the run with every free agent, no matter on the market.
What. It's the reason Miami has been a contending team for the better part of 30 years.
Exactly.
It's the reason the Lakers left Minnesota to go to LA. Philly and Chicago are 2 big cities, and outside of Chicago getting lucky and having Pippen and Jordan stay loyal, what big free agents have they ever landed?
So I think so we're on the same page that no one wants to go to Minnesota through free agency. So on the flip side of that coin, I almost have to say that's why they had to make this move, because they felt like there's no other choice for us to get really a superstar other than if we go all in on trade. Does this trade make sense? Absolutely not. Rudy Gobert does not add anything on the offensive side of the ball. And you would probably counter that with, Karl Anthony Towns will take the offensive side, and then Gobert can fortify the defensive side of the ball. That shit ain't working, because Gobert has openly complained when he was in Utah that he wasn't getting the ball enough. He wasn't getting alley-oops and all that stuff. And if you want to throw his rebounding numbers out there, he's averaged over double-digit rebounds for the better part of pretty much every year he's been in the league. I throw those out the window completely, because now the way the game is, Steph has messed up everyone's brains to the point where everyone doesn't even care about defensive rebounding, and everyone
going to stretch them out. They're just going to stretch these guys out, and they're going to take both Gobert and Towns out of the lane. They're going to put them out there with with small ball 4s and 5s, and they're just going to annihilate them on dribble drives and kickouts. Their defense is going to be horrendous.
And what is the offense going to be? One side of the court, okay, it's going to be a Cat D'Lo pick and roll, D'Angelo Russell pick and roll. Okay, if that doesn't work, let's go to the other side of the court, Anthony Edwards and a Rudy Gobert pick and roll. And it just doesn't offer the versatility. That's why I really don't like Minnesota giving up Jared Vanderbilt in this trade, because he was a guy that could have offered them some wing coverage and maybe some offense in a 3-and-D type situation and move off the ball, kind of similar to what we've seen with Andrew Wiggins in Golden State, obviously, kind of moving without the ball. And it just the best way, the only explanation that makes a little bit of logical sense is what Bill Simmons calls the new owner syndrome, where they just get so desperate as owners of owning an NBA team that they want to make a splash and make headlines immediately. And what do? Someone in the analytics department says, hey, we can get Rudy Gobert and A-Rod, and they all just sign off on it and don't really consider the basketball implications of this. And Minnesota has 3 guys now that they have to pay over $30 million in: Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Gobert. So their salary is just going to be all types of messed up, because then they got that Anthony Edwards extension coming down the pipe.
It's coming right down the pipe. And, Russell's gone. I just don't know what for. Yeah. But he's not staying there. But it's like, why did you have to give up both? Why did you have to give up all your draft capital? And like you said, like we just said, you have to make a trade for teams like Minnesota because you don't get big time free agents, But the other avenue is you have to sometimes get lucky and get a KG like they did, or back in the day, Isaiah Ryder, before he had a freaking mental breakdown and became what he became. But so why give up all of that? Like, why leverage it all for a trade for a guy who's not even a superstar, has declined so bad over the last 2 years, has been exposed in the last 3 playoffs, has an entire team just bitching about how they want him gone, including their star player. Now that star player too is also a diva and a malcontent, so you can put that in another column. But I just why mortgage everything for a guy that doesn't make you a contender? I don't understand it. You don't know what's going to happen down the line. What happens if Cat gets injured, or God forbid something happens with Edwards and you end up sucking so bad in 2025, but there's this can't miss prospect that you could have had, but now Utah has him because you gave that pick up. He could have it could have been like the Golden State thing where they just reload it, and now they have the young and the old, and that Minnesota should have been looked like that right there. That Golden State thing is how every franchise should be looking at it. Not the same exact style of play, but get a core and continue to build around them. And as they start to get older, you got to start taking the draft a little bit more seriously. And whether it means acquiring draft capital by trading a player or two, or you get unfortunate and someone gets hurt after a couple titles. But I think that the way that Golden State did everything is so smart. It was like, hey, we'll suck for a year, but we're going to reinvest our future. So when Clay and Curry and Draymond need walkers to get around, we already have our next core right there. And they're learning from these guys who have won 4 titles. But Minnesota said, nah, fuck it. The ghost of David Kahn still lives in this front office. He haunts us. He's still making bad decisions for us. So let's just give everything up. And then you give up the players too. Like you said, between Vanderbilt, Pat Bev, and Malik Beasley, they sourced out, I have it right here, 15 rebounds per game. Let's see, about 15 rebounds per game, anywhere between 3 to 4 steals per game, and roughly about, let's give or take, 25 points per game.
Yeah, you're not going to get that type of offensive production from Gobert.
Vanderbilt alone is almost 9 rebounds a game. Cat doesn't rebound shit.
Yeah.
He's a soft ass big man. He does. There's a reason he spends all his time in it's like, I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. I'm coming off that playoff run last year. Like, hey man, we're finally good for the first time in God knows how long. Like since KG in 2004 with Latrell and Sam Cassell. And you're excited. Let's get some more things. We got a young core. Maybe one of these next guys can step up. Maybe Vanderbilt will become a really solid 3-and-D guy. Maybe Malik Beasley stops, putting his dick in every girl that walks by and having fraternity suits and can focus on the court. Maybe we hit on one of these draft picks. Like maybe Walker Kessler turns into something. But no, they just give it all up.